Welcome back, or welcome for those of you who are new to this channel. Today I'm going to be talking about selling your home exclusively or in-house, and 4 reasons why I think you should avoid this as a seller. So before we get into the video, my name is Eleah Sims and I'm part of the Gateway Realty team here in Melfort, Saskatchewan. If you are interested in learning more about buying or selling real estate, then make sure that you subscribe to this channel. All right, so let's get started. First off, I'm going to talk about exactly what an in-house exclusive listing is. So what it is when you sign a listing contract with a brokerage and they hold that listing within their office and they don't publish it on the multiple listing service. I'm sure you've heard of the term pocket listings. So this is another way to describe, or that has been used to describe, in-house exclusive listings. So basically, like I said, these listings are not published on the MLS. They're just held within one brokerage and they're advertised and marketed by that one brokerage. So let's talk about why sellers should avoid listing their home exclusively. So I think the first reason is sort of obvious, and that is that there's limited exposure. So I mentioned already that the house is not put on the MLS system. So what exactly does that mean? When a house is not listed on the MLS, that means that it's not going on to realtor.ca, and it's also not being pushed onto other third-party databases. So just a quick stat about realtor.ca, just to put in perspective how many buyers actually use this website. But last year in 2022, realtor.ca had 121 million users that year. So there are obviously a lot of buyers using this website to search for listings. So I think it's clear that as a seller, it's beneficial to have your home on the MLS, which puts your listing over onto realtor.ca and other third-party databases. All right, so the second reason why I think sellers should avoid listing exclusively is that it reduces competition. So what do I mean by this? There are less buyers that are going to learn about exclusive listings just because of the nature of how these listings are marketed and advertised. So oftentimes when a house is listed exclusively, many times even other realtors won't even know about them. So if the realtors aren't learning about them, then how are people in the public and other buyers going to hear about these listings? So what actually happens is that when there's less buyers, there's just less competition. And in the end, this can actually bring in lower offers than if the house had been on the MLS. And it's also going to lower the chances of being in competing offers for that seller. So also, when listing your home exclusively, there is a section in the contract where the seller can decide to authorize the brokerage to either cooperate with other competing brokerages or not cooperate. So in a situation where they are saying, no, you cannot cooperate with other brokerages, well, then there's even going to be less competition, because there are going to be many buyers that are working with other brokerages that then won't have the opportunity to get into that house with their realtor. So number 3, there's a lower chance of a quick sale. So in the first point, I talked about limited exposure. You are not going to be getting as much exposure on this listing with it being not advertised or published on the MLS. So this can mean it takes longer to sell the property. If less people are aware that the property is for sale, then less people will be looking at the property, and it's going to take longer to find that perfect buyer. Real estate experts actually say that on average, it takes about 10 to 25 showings before you're going to sell your home. So this is just another reason why it's more beneficial to list your home on the MLS than to list exclusive. Let's move on to number 4. It is difficult sometimes to determine an accurate market value. Without exposure to a larger audience, it can be difficult to determine the market value of the property. Market value is the result of the most buyers being exposed to a property and then deciding what it's worth. So by listing a home on the MLS and exposing it to the world in that way, then buyers can actually compare your home to other homes that are listed. But when a home is not listed on the MLS, it's treated as a sort of outsider from the rest of the listings, and it's hard to know if the price is actually accurate. So in the end, again, this can actually lead to sometimes a lower price than what the seller could have got on the MLS. So the 5th reason why I think a seller should avoid listing their home in-house exclusive is that it is not in the best interests of the consumer. So by the consumer, I mean both the seller and the buyer. So in the last 4 points, we've talked about obviously why it's not in the best interests of the seller to list exclusively, and a reason why I think it's not in the best interest for the buyer either is because it actually makes it a lot more difficult for buyers to search for properties that are for sale. So a buyer should be able to search on one website for every active listing that's out there. For example, realtor.ca. They should be able to go onto realtor.ca and do a search and see every single house that is listed, at least with real estate. If it's a private for sale by owner, well then I guess that's different. But for real estate, I think they should all be able to be found in one place. But as it is with in-house exclusive listings, that's not the case. And then buyers have to go searching around to just individual brokerages to try and find pocket listings that are for sale. And I don't think that's very beneficial for them. And I also don't think it's very beneficial to the realtors, because as a realtor, we are trying to encourage buyers to choose one realtor, to be loyal to one realtor, to get to know that one realtor and work with them until they find the perfect home. But with exclusive listings, it makes it very difficult to do that. And sometimes it even forces buyers to end their professional relationship with a realtor they've been working with just so that they can go and look at a property that's listed exclusive. And that's not the sort of thing that we want to encourage. So for the most positive selling and buying experience, I think it's so important to have sellers list on the MLS and avoid in-house exclusive listings. So leave a comment below if you have any questions about the things that I talked about today. If you are interested in learning more about why I'm so passionate about buyers working with just one realtor, then check out my video from last week. Thanks you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time.